Welcome back, everyone, to CrimePod Castle. You know we love a good love story, right? But what happens when love takes a dark turn?
When it becomes twisted, and that's exactly what we're diving into today.
Twisted love. That's right. So buckle up, everybody. Today we're heading to Kanpur, India.
Back in 2015, a city brimming with life. Vibrant, full of energy.
And right in the heart of it, we meet Surabhi Gupta, 28 years old. A rising star in the corporate world, just got a major promotion.
Ambitious, driven, but not just that.
Yeah, she wasn't just climbing the ladder. She genuinely cared for people, like her colleagues. They adored her, always willing to lend a hand, a mentor to new employees.
And a loving family, supportive, close-knit, you know the kind.
And to top it off, she was in a seemingly stable relationship.
With a man named Akash Verma, worked in IT.
So on the surface, Surabhi's life, it looked picture perfect. But like any good twisted love story, things are rarely what they seem.
Right, and beneath that shiny surface, there were cracks, hidden pressures, tensions simmering, just waiting to boil over.
So let's rewind a bit. Tell me more about Surabhi. Paint me a picture.
Well, she was this go-getter, had dreams of getting her MBA, she was going places, and she was well-liked. People just gravitated towards her.
And her relationship with Akash, it seemed solid initially, right? What happened?
It all started to unravel as Surabhi's success grew. Akash, he became increasingly insecure.
It's that classic tale, isn't it?
Yeah.
One partner's success starts to overshadow the other, and insecurities creep in.
Exactly. Akash saw her long hours, her drive, as a threat to their relationship.
So her dedication, her passion, became the wedge that drove them apart.
In a way, Surabhi tried to reassure him, but the more successful she became, the more insecure he felt, and the arguments started.
And I imagine those arguments weren't just little disagreements. This was deeper.
Much deeper. Surabhi felt suffocated, like Akash was trying to control her, clip her wings, so to speak.
It's heartbreaking. She's trying to grow, to reach her potential, and he's holding her back out of his own insecurity.
It's a tragic situation, and it all came to a head on November 5th, 2015, a day that would change everything.
Okay, walk me through that day. What happened?
Surabhi came home from work. A typical day, it seemed. Later that night, her parents, they live nearby, tried calling her, but no answer.
And that's when the alarm bells start to ring.
Right. They knew something was wrong, and tragically, their worst fears were confirmed the next morning.
Surabhi was.
Found dead in her apartment. She had been strangled.
Oh my God. That's horrifying. What a devastating blow for her family, her friends, everyone who knew her.
Absolutely. And for the police, the investigation, it began immediately.
Naturally. So at this point, do they have any leads? Any idea who might have wanted Surabhi dead?
Well, their attention quickly focused on Akash.
Akash. So they suspect him right from the start.
Oh.
What evidence did they have at this stage?
Well, those close to the couple knew about the constant arguments, and investigators, they started digging deeper into their relationship.
Looking for clues. For a motive.
Yeah.
And what did they find?
A string of text messages on Surabhi's phone. Intense, heated exchanges.
The digital trail always leaves a mark, doesn't it? What did those messages reveal?
Akash's growing frustration, his desperation, trying to salvage the relationship, but Surabhi was pulling away.
So he was losing control.
Yeah.
And the messages proved it. But text messages, they can only tell part of the story. Did the police find any physical evidence linking Akash to the scene?
They did. Forensic evidence showed his fingerprints at the scene.
Oh, wow. So the pieces are starting to come together. Fingerprints, angry text messages, witnesses who knew about their tumultuous relationship. This is all pointing to Akash. Was there anything else?
Yeah, CCTV footage captured him entering the building that night, and then leaving in a hurry a short time later.
So now we've got a timeline, a motive, physical evidence, and of course those damning text messages. Did he confess?
Well, faced with all that evidence, Akash eventually cracked. He admitted to confronting Surabhi that night, an argument that escalated into a fit of rage, a fatal attack.
He confessed. But would that be enough to secure a conviction? And what happened to Akash after that night? We'll dig into the trial, the verdict, and the bigger questions this case raises right after this. Don't go away. So Akash confesses. In this case, it quickly catches the public's attention.
Oh,
right?
absolutely. This trial, it began in mid-2016, and it became a national sensation in India. I mean, you can imagine, right?
Yeah, it's not hard to see why.
It touched upon some really sensitive societal nerves.
Violence against women. Toxic relationships.
Exactly. And this idea of, women trying to break free from traditional roles and the backlash they can face.
In this case, in a way, it brought all those issues to the forefront.
It became this lens through which everyone was examining these bigger societal shifts and anxieties.
So let's talk about the trial itself.
Mm.
What were the main arguments presented? How did the prosecution build their case?
Well, they argued that this wasn't a crime of passion, a heat of the moment kind of thing.
It was premeditated.
Exactly. They painted Akash as driven by jealousy and this deep need to control Surabhi's life.
And they had the evidence to back it up, right?
Oh, yeah, they laid it all out. The constant fights, the text messages, the forensic evidence placing him at the scene, and, of course, his confession. It was a pretty damning case.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
So what about the defense? How did they counter that mountain of evidence? Did they try to poke holes in the prosecution's narrative, or did they take a different approach?
They actually kind of acknowledged that Akash was involved, but they tried to paint a different picture.
Not a cold-blooded killer.
Right. They argued that the crime was a result of emotional distress, not premeditation.
So more of a crime of passion, as we talked about earlier.
Right.
Did they present any evidence to support that claim?
Well, they pointed to his clean record, no history of violence or anything like that.
And they brought up his mental state.
Yeah, suggesting that maybe he wasn't fully in control of his actions that night, that he just napped.
A classic defense strategy, trying to evoke sympathy for the defendant. But did it work? Did the court buy their argument?
Not really, no. In late 2016, the court found Akash Verma guilty of murder.
Guilty. So what was his sentence?
He was sentenced to life in prison. The judge, he actually made a really strong statement during sentencing. He basically said that violence against women, no matter the reason, would not be tolerated.
Wow. A powerful message. It sounds like the court really wanted to make an example of this case, to send a message to society.
Definitely. It was a landmark case in a lot of ways. And,
Wow.
it's easy to get caught up in the legal aspects, but we can't forget the human cost of this tragedy.
Right. Surabhi, a young woman full of life, her future stolen from her, and her family, her friends left to pick up the pieces.
It's just devastating.
It really is. And it raises so many questions, like how do we prevent these kinds of tragedies from happening? What can we learn from Surabhi's story?
Well, I think one of the biggest takeaways is the importance of recognizing those red flags in relationships.
The controlling behavior, the possessiveness.
Exactly. Those are warning signs that shouldn't be ignored. And it's not just about recognizing those behaviors in others, but also in ourselves. Taking a hard look at our own patterns and making sure we're not contributing to toxic dynamics.
Self-awareness is key. Absolutely. And I think this case also speaks to the need for emotional maturity in relationships, right?
100%. Being able to communicate openly and honestly, to respect each other's boundaries, to manage our own insecurities and emotions. These are all crucial for healthy relationships.
But this applies to everyone, not just men or women. It's about building relationships on a foundation of mutual respect, not control or possessiveness.
And specifically for women, this case, it underscores how important it is to pursue their ambitions without fear.
To break free from those outdated expectations. To have dreams and go after them.
And to have partners who support them, not see their success as a threat. We need a society where a woman's success is celebrated, not punished.
And that requires dismantling those harmful gender roles and expectations that still linger. It's about creating a world where Surabhi's story wouldn't be a tragedy, but a celebration of a woman achieving her full potential.
Well said. It's about changing the narrative. Surabhi's story, it's a stark reminder of the work that still needs to be done.
It's easy to get caught up in the big picture, the societal issues, the legal battles, but we can't forget about the people at the heart of it all.
Absolutely. The human impact of this tragedy, it's immeasurable.
Surabhi's family, her friends, I can't imagine the pain they went through. Losing someone so young, so full of life, in such a brutal way.
It's just unimaginable. And it's a pain that probably never truly goes away.
Right. It leaves a scar. And I wonder, in the wake of this tragedy, did Surabhi's loved ones, did they try to honor her memory? To use her story to advocate for change, maybe?
Oh, absolutely. Her family, they were instrumental in pushing for justice, for raising awareness about domestic violence.
So they channeled their grief into action.
They did. They worked tirelessly with organizations to support women, to prevent similar tragedies from happening.
It's amazing how, even in the face of such immense loss, they found the strength to fight for change.
It's a testament to Surabhi's impact on those around her. And her friends, her colleagues, they also shared their memories, spoke out about the need for greater awareness and support.
It's inspiring, to see that even though Surabhi's life was cut short, her story continues to resonate. to spark conversations, to inspire action. It's like a ripple effect.
Exactly. It shows that even in tragedy, there can be hope, that we can learn from these experiences and work to create a better future.
A future where stories like Surabhi's become less and less frequent? Well, this deep dive into the Surabhi Gupta case has been incredibly insightful, but also really heavy.
Yeah, it's a tough one, but these are important conversations to have.
Absolutely. And I want to thank you, our listeners, for joining us on this journey, for engaging with these difficult topics.
We appreciate you being here.
And remember, if you or someone you know is struggling in a toxic relationship or experiencing any form of abuse, please reach out for help. You're not alone. There are resources available.
You can find more information on our website, and of course, we encourage you to explore the rest of CrimePod Castle's Twisted Love series for more deep dives into, well, the complexities of love and relationships and all the dark twists and turns they can take.
And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. We're on YouTube, too, sharing more content behind-the-scenes stuff, so check that out. Thank you for listening, everyone.
Until next time, stay curious, stay safe.
And as always, keep those critical thinking skills sharp.